how to do an acrylic gel transfer. This is for the flower and bee painting that the grade 6s started mid-April. You will need your map board, your flower photo for inspiration, a pencil, acrylic paint, brush, water, a photocopy of a bee, and the magic ingredient is acrylic gel medium. For this example, I am using this purple flower and this bee. I measure my bee and I make a circle about the size of the bee for the center of my flower. I choose my paint, and it's very important with acrylic paint that you begin by wetting your brush and adding just a tiny bit of water to your acrylic paint. On its own, acrylic paint is a bit too dry to spread nicely on the paper, so by adding a bit of water, you change the consistency and make it so that you can get a nice clean line and a nice smooth surface. And it's easier to blend the paint this way. So start by coloring in your yellow center, and then think about what kind of details you want to add to make this more than just a yellow circle. For me, I'm adding a little row of inner flower petals along the center. Once you've added some details to your center, you can color in your petals. I'm coloring in mine purple, and I'm making sure to add some different textures, a little bit of shadow. When I'm ready, I use a fine brush and fill in around the yellow center in those little lines. I'm also adding a bit more texture to add interest to the center of the flower. I'm using a darker yellow and adding a few little spots, adding a bit of shadow, and this gives it a little bit more depth. I decided to add a little more color by adding a magenta dot around the edge of those inner yellow petals, and I like the way it looks. I like the pink so much that I decided to color the background pink as well. I looked at my flower one more time and decided it needed a little something more, so I added a few little pink lines. And then for the final touch, I decided to add a bit of a highlight with a light purple. There, I'm happy with my flower, so now it is time to remove the tape. You don't want to leave that too late, or sometimes the tape can stick to the paper. So here's my finished painting, and we're ready to apply the bee. This is the interesting step. So the first thing we need to do is cut out the bee. Now don't cut too close to the line. You want to leave yourself a little bit of space, a millimeter or two all the way around. It doesn't have to be exact. Now once it's cut out, I'm double checking that my painting is dry, and I'm lining up my bee and figuring out where I want to position it on the flower. So I'm happy with it being a little off to the side like this. Then I take my acrylic medium matte gel, which you usually add to paint to make it easier to spread and blend, and I'm painting an even, smooth, thin layer of acrylic gel medium onto the place where my bee is going to be. And I have to make sure that there's no dry spots where the bee is going to be. So I'm just using my flat brush and smoothing over the acrylic gel medium and making sure to get to the spots where the wings will be. And I'm trying not to leave any ridges because that can make an uneven print at the end of it. So once it is covered and I'm happy with it, it's time to put the bee on. So the bee goes ink side down onto the flower. You can kind of position it till you're happy with the position, and then you tap it down and make sure that the paper has a really good contact with the painting. Now it's important to rub the back of the paper. Don't be too hard, but rub it hard enough that there's no air bubbles left underneath. You want the surface of the ink to be completely adhered to the acrylic gel medium. This is what it'll look like when you're done, and then you just need to leave it. I left this for a few hours. 24 hours is best if you can leave it that long. So it's been a few hours, I'm ready to remove my bee. And the way we do this is we take some clean water and you dampen your finger, and then you dampen the back of the paper all over. You don't need a big puddle of water, you just get it damp, and you'll see that the image starts to show through. Once the paper is completely wet, then it's time to start rubbing it away. And as long as the gel medium has completely dried before you do this step, the ink will stay on the painting and the paper backing will just rub away in little curls. You don't need to scratch at this, you just want to use the flat side of your finger and carefully rub back and forth, and the wet paper will just come away in little rolls. And this is the fun part where you get to reveal the bee, and it's actually pretty fun. Brush away the paper as you're working at it. And again, don't be too hard with it. You don't need to scratch, just use the soft side of your finger. You'll find as you rub this away that it will start looking really good. And you'll notice that after you've rubbed away the first layer, it looks pretty good, but as it starts to dry, little bits of paper start showing again. So you'll need to repeat this process, not quite as intensively, but you'll need to repeat it again after it's dried the first time, and just dampen your finger and rub away the remaining bits of paper until it's looking like the paper's completely gone and the image is clear. I hope you have fun with this project, and good luck.